Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here. Well, I promised you I'd do a review of this movie, and review and promise I will keep. So, Bigfoot Family. This is by far one of the strangest movies I have seen. It's not even like bad, I would say, just very strange, like KFC movie levels of strange. Okay, let's not go that far. But this is a very strange movie. I guess before I talk about it, I better talk about the first movie, Son of Bigfoot. Son of Bigfoot, I found it to be an okay movie. It was cliche story, but the characters were charming. The animation was okay for the time. I think it came out in 2016, 2017, around there. And yeah, no, I liked it enough. It was an okay movie with an okay plot, with a boring villain. I just could not care for the villain. How many movies are we gonna have where it's the big evil corporate company who's the big evil bad guy who only loves money, that's big and evil? You never heard that money's the root of all evil? Yeah, so bad villain, but it was an okay story, okay characters. It was enough to grab my attention, and I watched it at least more than once. So I guess I have to give credit for the movie. Apparently, for the studio that made this movie, which is do I have their name here somewhere? No, not Kino Check. That's the guy. That's the trailer guy. God, what's the name of the studio that made this movie? I can't remember, but once I find it, I'll let you know. Anyways, so apparently that was big enough for the studio that made that movie to just say, "Oh my God, we succeeded," and it was a straight to DVD, nWave Pictures. That was it. So apparently that movie was such a success for nWave that they're like, "Oh my goodness, we gotta make a sequel." Mind you, Son of Bigfoot wasn't even premiered in theaters. It was like a straight to DVD movie. So I don't even know how I found it. Anyways, nWave is like, "Yo, we're gonna make a sequel to this." And so jump 3-4 years later, we have 2020 with Bigfoot Family. And I guess we already run into our first problem there. The name of the movie. What the hell? It's not even similar to the name of the first movie. The name of the first movie was Son of Bigfoot. This is Bigfoot Family. They couldn't have even called it Son of Bigfoot 2, Bigfoot Family, or Son of Bigfoot 2, Another Foot, or something like that. Like, come up, be creative. Come up with some like creative names for feet or something like, or like, I don't know, like the next step. Ooh, the Son of Bigfoot 2, the next step. That would have been a good title. Why didn't you hire me to title this? So yes, yeah, obviously. Yeah, I don't know how much money this movie made, again, because it was straight to DVD, but I'm guessing it wasn't even that popular, and not a lot of people knew of it. Hell, I didn't even know of it when it was announced. I think the trailer came out, like, what, 5 months ago or something? Give me a second. Um, yeah, it came out on January 2020. How does that make sense, even? How the hell does that make sense? Okay, whatever. The trailer I found it on, it came out like about 5 months ago, 5-6 months ago. So it's definitely an older movie than that. I know it was released mid 2020, but that's the case. So again, Bigfoot Family. I guess it wasn't even that popular because not even I knew of it. Yet I always keep track of like small movies and such. And the fact that it doesn't even share the same name as the first movie just makes it worse for it. Like, if you're gonna make a sequel to a movie, how do you not share the same name? Literally, the only thing they share was Bigfoot. Anyways, might as well talk about this movie. So really, I'm not gonna talk about this movie in detail. It's more about I'm gonna talk about the second half of the movie because that's where the problems for the movie begin for me. That's where I see the cracks start to form. Once you get to the second half of the movie, I get to see the cracks forming. It's very gradual, but by the time you're done with the movie, you're like, oh, that was a mess. So before I bash this movie hard, let me at least compliment it. I liked the first half. I loved the first half. It felt like actual talent was being put into the writing. Like, the writing is so good for this movie. Not even in the second half, where the writing starts to fall a bit, like, you could tell it was trying to actually get tired with making this movie the more it progressed. Like, at the beginning of the movie, there was like so much passion and effort being put into it, and then as the story goes on and goes on and goes on, and you're like, okay, guys, you can take a breather. You don't have to continue this movie. Hell, no one even asked for a sequel. Like, chill out. So you could tell that the creators were getting tired as the movie went on, because I noticed it, at least. So like the very first half of the movie was really good. The animation was very colorful, very vibrant and very bright. And I'm like, oh dang, this is an upgrade from the last movie. I hope they keep this energy up for the rest of the movie. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. But again, I'm gonna praise this movie. Let me praise this movie real quick before I start and attacking it viciously and ranting and all that. Cause again, I'm not even like a big fan of this franchise. It's just like, I don't know. I just thought this series at least deserves a bit of digging into. So Of course, the writing at the beginning, spectacular. I'm amazed as to how they wrote the lines, like they were actual characters speaking and not just movie characters being like, "Hello, I am movie character. I am supposed to say this line. Let me get this point across." So I'm glad that the lines actually felt a bit organic. Again, I already talked about the animation and not really breathtaking, but it really does look good. I don't know whether it's the lighting or the coloring, but dang, this movie can actually look good if it wants to. Like, where was the budget? This is where the budget went to. I guess what's this? The characters were fine. I'm okay with the character designs, by the way. In this movie, the character designs look really good. They do differentiate a bit from the first movie. Like looking back on the first movie, they are a bit different. But dang, the character designs actually look pretty aight. Even Bigfoot's design, well, he okay, Bigfoot's design is the one that's a bit off-putting because he looks more like a gorilla than he does Bigfoot. But like whatever, that's like such a small problem. And the story seemed to be heading in a direction that I didn't think a lot of stories were gonna go, because like the main story is about this oil company and it's extracting oil from the environment peacefully, or it's environmentally friendly, and then we find out that the oil company is evil. I'm like, oh my god, no, we have seen this story so many times. I'll get on to what they should have done later on. And so for the first half of the movie, I was hooked. I was like, oh dang, this is actually pretty good. I also like all the unique takes on it. Now that Bigfoot is an actual character that exists in this world, his son is like actually going to school and he's being bullied by everyone, being like, oh dude, your dad is so cool. Hey, could you invite could you invite your dad to my party? I mean, it's a very limited list, so you're not invited, but your dad is invited. I'm like, oh my god, like I I don't know what it's like, but I could just imagine how he's going through. Like child celebrities or children having their parents as celebrities must be hell for them, and I really love that. It was a unique take on the thing. I thought we were gonna stay in the town for a while, but it seems we're going to Alaska, and yeah. Well, in order to give the movie my praises, let's start bashing it. Let's start killing. Oh boy, here I go killing again. So, my big problem with the movie, number one, we don't spend enough time in the home area, I should say. Like, we don't spend enough time at home. I don't know where this kid lives. I'm just gonna say we don't spend enough time in his hometown. We don't get to see him spend enough time. Because I remember how he said that he was getting bullied at school because his dad was like a celebrity. Well, that's a big problem here. Is because this movie brings a lot of interesting concepts into the movie. It just doesn't go anywhere with them. This kid, his dad is a celebrity. That happens for like one scene, immediately forgotten. What's this? There's this oil company that could be extracting oil safely. Doesn't go anywhere with it, and that's my biggest problem with this movie. At the beginning, we had this wolf and rabbit chase, which was interesting, but then the wolf comes back later, and even the rabbit shows up for a bit, but like it's kind of nothing. It was just there to show the chase. There's this big mystery as to how the oil is being mined. Oh my goodness, how are they extracting the oil? And then when the twist comes, it's just explosives. Okay. And yeah, I just know. A lot of these plot points don't go anywhere, and I feel like I really can't go on unless I address the elephant in the room. So might as well. The elephant in the room is that the oil company itself. In the last movie, the main villains were like a hair company, and they wanted to steal Bigfoot's hair. Well, in this movie, it's an oil company, and they're extracting oil environmentally safely. Well, that's a big... And obviously, we find out that they're lying, and they're actually destroying the environment. Yes, this movie is one big environmental message, and what's more is that it has to be in Alaska. And I just did not enjoy that at all. With the way this movie was structured and the way it was going, I thought it was going to be something completely different. In my opinion, I thought the movie was going to be going in a direction where they thought the oil company was bad. But when they actually dig into the nitty-gritty secrets of the oil company, they find out that they're actually extracting oil in an environmentally friendly way, that they're actually being friendly to the environment, and that they're not harming it in any way, shape, or form. And so they find out that the oil company were actually the good guys. They're trying to save the environment and remove the oil nicely, while the hippies were the bad guys. The hippies were, I don't know, had some secret agenda, or they wanted this other plot, or maybe there was some secret treasure. I don't know. I just wanted something to mix it up. I'm so sick and tired of these B movies always having the big bad company, always wanting the big bad evil money. I was so sick and tired of it. I was praying that this movie would subvert my expectations. Hell, I wanted my expectations subverted, and I knew I wanted them subverted. Like, how should I say? It's not really subverted if you know you're going to be subverted, but I just wish this movie at least thought it was smarter than it was pretending to be and would get the oil company guys to be the good guys. But nope. The oil company guys are the bad guys, and the CEO of the company just makes it even worse. Because at the beginning he seems like some weird hippie surfer dude, but no, we later find out that he's literally every Texan ever. He has the belt buckle, the hat, the ring, and all of a sudden his accent starts changing. He's like, you know where I'm from, we mine oil down in the mines every day. Oh, this reminds me back in the day of the cattle ranching. We could sell snow to an Eskimo, and to all those Texans I just insulted, please forgive me. And so yeah, the villain just falls flat again, and to an extent he's even worse than the last movie's villain. The only villain I sort of mildly enjoyed was this Alaskan dude who's like, who started off being like some pretend surfer guy. He's like, oh yeah, bro, and then later on turns out to be an assassin who's actually who's like really, who has like a bloodlust, and like, god damn, they really made him so evil to the point that I couldn't even take him anymore. I'm like, just say you burnt kitties as a kid. Hell, he even said that he burnt down his own orphanage. What? This guy was really made to be like the most evil person of all time, and to an extent I kind of loved it. So yeah. What else did I don't like in the second half of the movie? The animation was like more or less the same as the first half, just a bit less colorful. Whereas the first half was like really colorful, the second half just seems to adopt the darker colors, you know, gray, black, all that. And I'm like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, okay. So like that's a big problem I have. The character's also another issue I have with this movie, where like this kid here, he's like, I don't know, is he like 12, 15 or something? But like he's like so rude to his parents, and I know that's probably a thing with all American kids or whatever. This guy is just like so unreasonably rude, and he always just has some weird quickie comeback for every situation, no matter how dire the situation is. He's always gotta be like, witty comeback. I'm like, dude, this really isn't the time. I really wish his lines would have been written better, and he's just yeah, Bigfoot is honestly my favorite character in the movie. I like the way he's so down to earth and reasonable. Even when he becomes like a famous superstar, he at least wants to use his fame for right purposes. Unlike real life celebrities, where when they become famous, they literally forget who they are, this guy actually tries to use his fame for a good cause. He's like, oh wow, I know I have my 15 minutes of fame. I know it's not gonna last forever. I might as well use this 15 minutes of fame to send a good message. I really like that. I really like the way his character was written. I really like his character overall. I feel like the movie actually did him justice in that part. And yeah, I mean, although they do give him some flaws, which I do respect a lot, where he seems to like ditch his family for the good cause, which he did in the first movie as well, because like he had to protect his family. This time he's ditching his family to protect the environment. So I do like that he has his flaws and he has his strengths. Again, he's honestly like the best character in my opinion. Then we also have the mom. The mom is known for quite a few things. We're not gonna talk about that, but I'll say she's also my favorite character as well. Like she has her moments. She has her moments. I also just hate at the end of the movie when like they're congratulating Bigfoot and like his kid. They don't congratulate the mom. Like, hello, she did things too. She got the family here in the first place. She came to save everyone. Like, give her some credit. Goddamn. Like, bro, I was so offended. The mom deserves better. Yeah, she needs to be in more movies, even though she's not real. She deserves better. Like, what the hell is this? Her son and her husband are getting more attention than her. What the hell? And also, the characters are more or less the same than the last movie. Really, the only new characters we get are just villains or supporting characters. Everyone is basically the same from the first movie, which I don't mind. Hell, they even had to like leave the squirrel and bird out in exchange for the raccoon and bear, who are like so unnecessary here. I feel like they were like the most unnecessary part of this film. The bear didn't need to be that all, and the raccoon, oh god, that raccoon is almost as bad as the main character himself. What's the main character's name? I keep forgetting his name. But like Adam, that was it. The main character's name is Adam. The raccoon is just even worse than Adam, because not only does he give like some witty comments in every situation, he makes every situation kind of worse. And then even at the end, when we're like getting a nice happy moment, he decides to finish. He's like, my boy, all grown up. I'm like, no one asked for your commentary. He's like such a chatterbox in the film. He just never shuts up, and he like eats all the food. So yeah, again, this movie takes place in Alaska. I like there was a moose that was just like, get off my land. That was actually a bit funny. But overall, this movie was just a mess. And don't even get me started on the pacing. Oh my god, the pacing. Whereas for the first movie, the pacing was fine. It also felt like it was all over the place, because every character gained a moment of screen time. We had Bigfoot's moment. We had Adam's moment. We had Shelly's moment. Everyone gets like some sort of like 20 minutes of fame, and I'm like, why? But then like we have the road trip segment, which would feel longer than it should, but then they like put in some weird pop songs in there. And I'm like, okay, this moment was cute enough. I like the way they get to Alaska. That was actually a legit cool moment I liked in the film, like how they're getting to Alaska. The problem is, Honestly, I feel like they could have made that road trip better if like they used like the McQueen sound. I'm on the highway and I'm gonna ride it all night long. It did feel like that much of a ripoff. Again, the pacing was very bad, especially in the second half of the movie. Because like 1 minute we're like on this roller coaster ride, the other minute we're in the mines, the other minute we're following a wolf, the other minute we're fighting this guy. And what's even worse is like when the movie actually feels like it's over, when like Adam like disables the bomb, he decides to go ahead an extra. The movie decides to be like, no, 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 we're not done here. We're gonna keep you trapped to your seats. Like it's so desperate to get to that 1 hour 30 minute mark that it will literally kidnap its audience, being like, no, 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 no. There was a second bomb and they're gonna detonate the second bomb. You didn't know? And then they only do this just so they can give the bear and raccoon like some more screen time, which if you ask me, just keep them at home. The bear and raccoon, honestly, just they're not bad characters, but like they have no purpose being in this film, and it shows. I just do not. They're like, this movie is like bloated with so many characters, and it just doesn't need to be like that. Because the problem with this film that I've seen, it has like a lot of themes and like you know, setups they're having. However, these setups don't go anywhere because there are too many characters. I appreciate when a movie has a lot of setups but few characters, or few setups and a lot of characters. You can make a long movie like that. However, if you have a movie that has too many setups and too many characters, your movie begins to feel bloated, and some of these setups will go nowhere in favor to support the characters, or vice versa. The characters will go nowhere in order to support the setups, and it just does not work. Just doesn't work. So yeah, those are my biggest problems with the movie. It's mostly due to the pacing and the story. The story feels again like a regurgitated version of the first movie. Bigfoot goes missing. Family goes to look for Bigfoot. Bigfoot is kidnapped by company. Company turns out to be evil. Oh my goodness, will we be famous? It's just literally the first movie, just with better animation and I dare say a bit of better writing. Otherwise, that's about it. I would say this movie is slightly better than the first movie, but also in some terms worse. I really love the first half. The first half really felt like it was gonna bring on a unique movie. However, when we get to the second half, that's just where everything just falls apart and it becomes a big mess jumble. I did mention this movie on my top 10 movies of 2020, and that's because, and you know, I even had to put off the list just so I could see this movie, and I'm like, was it really worth it, honestly? So, this movie has confused me so much, I don't even know what score to give it. If I watched it based on the first half of the movie alone, I'll probably give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. But if like I'm talking about the whole movie, I'll give it like a 4 to 6 out of 10, just around there. I would say maybe like 5.5 around there. It's really deserved its place on my list of being number 10 because it just did not have that much about it, and it just, whew, the more you think about it, the more tired you get. I've been Captain Phoenix. Thank you so very much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I know you probably haven't seen this movie, so I'm not even going to ask you what your thoughts are on it. I just hope that nWave does better in the future, and if you're really going to make another Bigfoot movie, please do it in a way where you can pleasantly surprise me, because this is literally every B movie in existence. I really do not think there's been a more average movie than this, other than, I don't know, Scoob or something like that. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. I've been Captain Phoenix. Like, subscribe, comment, and with that, I will see you in another universe. Goodbye, my Rangers.